that are left on Sweets Way right now. This is an estate with 160 homes. Most of those homes were filled up until just the last couple of months. And as soon as Barnet Council gave planning permission to Annington Homes to bulldoze all those homes, they started kicking people out very, very quickly. It was a horrendous thing to see. For any of you who were up there in mid-February, it was just scenes of people's lives scattered across the estate. Every bit of green space was just covered in broken furniture and people's clothing, thrown out on the lawns, thrown out into the trash by bailiffs with no regard for the fact that these are people's lives that were being thrown out. Often at 7 in the morning, bailiffs coming around and just chucking everything people owned out on the street and telling them, go to Barnet Homes and declare yourself homeless. This is the scene where things started to organize here. And those who were left, as well as the families who have been pushed away and forced into just awful emergency accommodation, started to come together and started to say, we've been standing alone so far, and they have been crushing us every step of the way, but we're not going to allow that to happen, and we're going to come together and we're going to fight. And since then, there's been an occupation that involves 6 different homes on the Sweets Way estate now, showing that these are perfectly good homes. There's no reason to bulldoze them. There's no need for 300 luxury flats to be built in their place. People who are living in those homes have been moved into places that are simultaneously more expensive, worse quality, and further from the lives that they're living. Those homes are being bulldozed for no reason other than, according to Richard Cornelius, the head of Barnet Council, they weren't profitable enough. This is the only problem with the homes of Sweets Way estate, is that they were not profitable enough. And so as long as that's the main criteria for housing that exists and is allowed to continue to exist, and the housing that gets built, we are going to see social cleansing, and we're seeing it in Barnet, and we're seeing it all across London right now, and we're seeing it in cities around the world. And this is what happens when you let the free market figure out housing policy for you. What we've got to do is stand up to it and say, we want proper social, proper council housing. We want to be able to have homes that people can truly afford to live in, surrounded by their communities, surrounded by their support networks, the people who will help them raise their children, the people who will help them when they need help. That doesn't happen if you break a community apart and throw people up to Luton and Watford, if you push people out to Essex and tell them that this is the only housing that's available. We are not willing to accept that. We know there are 150 perfectly good homes on the Sweets Way estate. So when people are getting forced out, we know that that's based on lies, based on the idea that private property ownership should be more important than people's right to a home in a community. And we will not stand by, regardless of what this court says. This court is one part of the process, like we've been saying. And so whatever happens, we will continue to fight for these homes. We will not stand by and allow perfectly good homes to be bulldozed while people and communities are being torn apart. But if people want to come up and share their own stories here, this is an open microphone. We know that there are people all across this borough and all across this city who are fighting social cleansing, and we know there are people all across this borough and all across this city who are living with the kind of things that the people in the Sweets Way estate have been living with. And we want to share those stories. We want to get them out. These are not stories to be ashamed of. These are stories that developers like Annington should be ashamed of. These are stories that Barnet Council and all the other councils across London who are pushing social cleansing policies should be ashamed of. These are not things for us to feel bad about, so the more we share them, the more we grow in our strength, because we are not alone in this. We are all dealing with these kinds of issues. So if anybody wants to come up and share their own stories,